Welcome to the Women and Girls EmpoWomen Summit virtual experience across borders. This summit is designed to provide empowerment, advocacy, to raise awareness of the plight of women and girls across borders by documenting similarities and differences and promoting gender-based violence prevention and gender equality in governance. This summit will be a regional, pedagogical, experiential knowledge share of IVLP alumni between 3 continents, collectively with Trinidad and Tobago, the Bahamas, Ghana, Kenya, Sri Lanka, and India. There are 3 components to the summit. 1, focus group discussions to be held in August of 2021. 2, a 5-day virtual workshop to be held November 22nd through the 26th of 2021. And 3, a global summit to be held April 4th through the 8th of 2022. We want you to think, share your thoughts, views, experiences, lend your voice as we advocate for equality and equity and navigate towards governance, peace, and security for our women and girls.
Welcome to International Women's Day, and I am your host, Kendra Bowe, and we're streaming live from the American space here in the Bahamas at the University of Bahamas, and we want to officially welcome you all today to our International Women's Day program. We have some very distinguished guests who are here with us live today. Our guest speaker who is here is none other than the Minister of Education and Vocational Training, Glenys Hanna-Martin, who is our longest serving female parliamentarian, and I think that deserves another round of applause. I also want to acknowledge all of our other distinguished guests here in the presence of the U.S. Charge, and also our University of Bahamas officials who are here. So thank all of you for coming and being here with us today. And so without further ado, we're going to get right into this, starting a lively discussion, as Daryl Miller would say, provocative. A lively discussion we're going to have today as we promote gender equality. We have had the opportunity with the GPS program that now has been going on for almost 9 months, empowering women and girls throughout 6 countries: the Bahamas, Trinidad and Tobago, India, Sri Lanka, Ghana, and Kenya. And we have been hearing from these young persons who are so filled with ideas and so filled with passion. And we just want to take this opportunity as we acknowledge International Women's Day to also recognize those young participants from all over the world who've been lending their voice to see change happen in terms of the laws, lending their voice in terms of being able to be a peer mentor to other young persons so that they can get the message out in terms of gender equality. So let's give a hand to our participants all over the world who are a part of this project. And so now we're going to go right in asking our minister who is here today. She is no stranger in terms of to the Bahamian society and the impact that she has had. She comes from a political family of one of our national heroes, but she is a hero in her own right. I saw a clip of her of an interview she did with Shine the Light. And that clip that was put together as she was speaking, I'm telling you, she's like a freedom fighter. She was speaking and sharing in terms about Parliament. And she had her finger like this. No, you know, should be not allowed to enter into the House of Parliament. And so she's definitely a firefighter, a freedom fighter in terms of that passion that is on the inside of her in advocating not just for women's rights, but just for us as Bahamians as a whole. And so, Ms. Martin, can you tell us and our audience, for those who are viewing around the world, a little about yourself and what gives you your passion and your drive as it relates to women's rights, but also in terms of making your mark in terms of politics?
Thank you very much, and good morning to everyone. It is such an honor and a humbling one to be here, because I certainly I don't have that sort of perspective of myself in that way. I believe you should just be, and so I'm just being. But I have had I think my greatest asset has been the atmosphere in which I was reared and raised, and it was two parents who were very progressive, very passionate, and who were involved at the time in the liberation of the Bahamian people. And so they dragged me along, holding on to my mother's hand, you know, at the Southern Recreation Ground, where you heard the freedom songs and you felt the fervor and the vigor. And I heard the speeches of my father. And, you know, today we're talking about International Women's Day. And, you know, and I think Hillary Clinton declared at the Beijing conference that women's rights are human rights.
Yes.
And I grew up in that atmosphere of the advocacy of human rights.
Yes.
And you know, and the rest is history. I followed my father. I listened to him. He was my hero. I was just thinking this morning, you know, he was so much my hero that I didn't think he could die. No, I'm serious. It just, I'm still coming to terms with that because he was just so huge in my psyche. But I listened to him and I listened to his philosophy and his viewpoint of the world. And it orientated me. And my mother was similarly passionate. It orientated me in a way in which I saw I have come to see my purpose as one that is not self-indulgent, but that is externalized to see how we can reshape the world in which we live in. And we have a lot of work to do, a lot of work to do. And the role of women and the where women stand today is a big part of what has to happen. And it's within the general context. And I think it's very important that we do not isolate it so it becomes this thing about women, this, and it is part of the overall reformative, liberational aspect of how human society progresses.
Yes.
And these are residual and remnant issues that some of which are still big in terms of how they impact quality of life issues.
Yes.
And so it's very important that if we aspire to creating a fair, just, humane, beautiful society, that we do all that we can to ensure that we uphold the rights of all humans. And so to put it in a nutshell, it was the people who brought me into the world and who reared me who was so influential in my outlook and in my life.
Thank you so much for that. But even though you speak about those persons who were so instrumental, we have had many women who have come into politics, some of the younger ones, and then you see them fade away. We see some come, some fade away. We see some come in, they've made their mark, and then they move on to other things. But you've remained, and you have remained steadfast. You have been like that one constant in terms of as a female amongst the men who's saying, no, I am capable and I am competent and I'm able to get the job done. And even when, some of your male counterparts may have failed, you was still there championing and winning and representing. And so what advice can you give in terms of to the young girls and the women here and around the world in terms of what is that fortitude or strength that they need to have or possess to keep them going despite all the odds that they may face?
Well, I think that one of the first things is to understand your purpose, and to appreciate that God has given you, every person, gifts, and that your purpose is to express those gifts. And you have to have, believe it or not, courage. You need the courage, because particularly for girls and women, the world is not always facilitative. And so sometimes you have to be dogged, but you have to know, but not just for its own sake, just be obnoxious noise, but for the purpose of ensuring that your purpose is fulfilled. For me in politics, I see my role as transformative, as seeking to change where change must come. And to be truthful, I might, at the end of the road, there's probably going to be a lot of work to be done. But I don't want the record to reflect that during my tenure, I kept the seat warm, because I don't see that as the purpose of me being here in public life. So to the girls, I say, be clear on your purpose and have the courage to be all that you can be. And there are a lot of forces that, even about how we look, of women of color, how our hair looks, how our, women in the Caribbean, how big our hips are. And after 3 children, I can tell you it's a struggle right now. But, we have to be confident and comfortable in who we are. There's no image on TV of what we are and who we are.
Yes.
And, we are who we are. And, you want to stay healthy, but still, so I think that it's the combined thing of having a view of what your purpose is. And that is, I think I have a fairly good foundational understanding, but it's refined as you go along. But also to have the courage when all the pressures, the cultural insistencies, and all these different things that pressure us internally, so that we feel inhibited about how to move forward. You have to fight beyond those things. You have to fight, because I see my role as creating paths, not as necessarily towing a line. And towing a line, there's nothing wrong with that if the line goes in the right direction. But I see my role as being a very clear, defined path.
Okay, awesome. So what about when you look at the challenges that you have faced over the years, that you had to now find that courage to overcome? What would you say has been the greatest challenge that you may have faced?
Well, there's so many things in public life, especially for women. You have children. I saw pictures of when I first started in politics outside my headquarters, and my children were in shoes and socks, and I couldn't believe it. I said, what happened? I felt like there was a big gap. And that's one of the challenges, how you are able to balance that reality. And I think I've done the best I can. I'm sure I could have done better. I think that's been one of the challenges. The other challenges has been, you in a collegiate environment, you want to create a sort of safe, friendly environment. But sometimes I learned that after probably my first 6 months in cabinet, sometimes you got to draw a line, and the friendliness has to, you have to make the clarify as to why I'm here, and what is the role, because sometimes there are, even those who mean well, they have views of women that are so embedded in their perspectives, that it's externalized to me and others, and so you have to educate them, and so I've had to do that on occasion, and I think they've gotten used to that now.
Most definitely.
But that's been a challenge, where you see yourself in a place of equals, and then you begin to understand the nuances of how you're really viewed, and so you have to create an understanding that this is how it go. That's been a challenge, and it's a continuing challenge, because it's so deeply embedded in our socialization, and how especially boys and even girls, how they see themselves. So our role really is, my role is to see how we can craft a new reality. It's not easy because there's so many challenges, and every time you think you're making a step forward, the challenges come back. And you look at the pandemic, this has created so many challenges for young people, and in education and even in socializing, which is something that was not on my landscape. I didn't dream I'd be dealing with something like this, but you are, and so you have to step up, and you have to do all that you can to take it back onto a course, because if you don't, it will go out of control, and it will deteriorate, and we can't allow that. And leadership is about not only not allowing it to deteriorate, but to taking it in a progressive direction for better way of life, better than those who came before us. And I always say this: we have to understand the journey of the Bahamian people, and in the people that many of us in the Caribbean, and it's through the Middle Passage. Most of us, it's the Middle Passage, and that's our legacy. That is a historical fact, and with that comes hundreds of years of certain types of realities, including violence, including women, the way women have been viewed. And so I see my role in leadership as I always say, Bob Marley say, redemption song, about redeeming the whole experience of our people, and making us whole and healthy, and be all that we can be. And so the challenges have been those things I've expressed, but the challenges also are the realities of the realities we live in. Yes. And being able to hopefully have an inspired vision about the way forward.
Okay. And so before we get your closing thoughts in terms of what is that global message that you want to leave with all of us here on International Women's Day, I want to ask one of our students, Ramona, who will ask a question of you, who's here, Ramona from Kefren, and one of the questions that she wanted to ask you at this time. So Ramona, if you could stand.
Good morning. My question would be, if there was one thing you would like to get out, additional thing you would like to get out to me or to the other girls, what is that one message, one lesson you would like to give us?
I think that the one message would be that the understanding that every human is entitled, male or female, boy or girl, is entitled to be all that they can be without any constraint or restriction in their personal development. And I don't mean normal constraints and restrictions of law and order. I'm talking about the ability of a human being to be all that they can be. And I think, and I want girls to understand that females come from a history. There was a time you couldn't vote. There was a time you couldn't hold land. It is reputed that there was a time a spouse could be beaten by an instrument the width of a thumb. So chastisement of a female, of a wife. We are coming from a history of a perspective of girls and women. And we have to change that perspective, where we see girls and women as in our entire context as the the counterparts of the human experience. But the counterpart is not inferior. The counterpart is fiery. It's gifted. The world waiting on it.
Yes.
It's respectful.
Yes.
And so I want the girls in our country to understand, to come to an understanding that the world is waiting on them, and don't disappoint them.
Mhm.
Don't disappoint. And that would be my message.
Thank you so very much.
Yes,
Thank you
thank
so
you.
very much. And so there you have it. The world is waiting on you. And so we want to thank the Honorable Minister Glenys Hanna-Martin for taking the time to share with us today.
Thank
She
you
has
so
a
much.
very busy schedule, but she made way to say, no, I'm going to be here today, and I'm going to lend my voice in terms of to this program. And so we just want to thank her. Let's give her a round of applause.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And so at this time, we're going to go to our video lineup. As we said, we have videos from women around the world, and we're going to go to our video lineup. I think the first video will be that of Her Royal Highness Princess Meridian, and she is one of the project partners with this program, and she is going to give us an official welcome in terms of to International Women's Day and share her views on it.
Hello and happy International Women's Day to all women and young girls across the world. So I am Her Royal Highness Princess Meridian Adedoyin Shulari. I'm the granddaughter of a Nigerian monarch, a Yoruba princess, and a Pan-African royal. I'm a broadcast journalist by profession, and I'm also a media specialist and consultant. I sit on the board of a couple of charities that look after women who are inventors, innovators, and exceptionally creative women, and also another charity that looks after young girls. So why do I think the representation of women in all aspects of society is important? It is so important because women are the pivot of society. And we all know the saying, the hand that rocks the cradle rules the world. There is no human person in this world that has not been born of a woman, be it by natural birth or cesarean. It is a woman that carries each human person. Women are the ones that give us the stability that we need, both in homes and in the larger society. And if we had more women in positions of leadership, my personal belief is that this world would probably be a better place. I'm not throwing any shade at men, but we know that women just have a knack of doing things properly because they put their heart and soul into it. Anything that you put in the hands of a woman, she will nurture it as if it's her baby, as if it's her child. What were my challenges? The challenges that I've experienced? Not too many challenges, but I would say that I've expressed challenges when it comes to, the male-female roles, especially in the job market, in the business field. It's easier for men, to have doors knocked and open for them. Women, we will not only knock the door, we'll try our best to bash the door down so that somebody can hear us. But I believe that the challenges that we have as women is because there are not many women in places of authority. A lot of times, maybe 9 out of 10 times, it's a male figure that's in a position of authority. So as a woman, I've had to work twice as hard as a man. And then even as a woman of color, as a woman of African descent, I've even had to work twice as hard to get through those doors, to shatter those glass ceilings. Did I receive any social support? Probably from my sister queens, as I call them, my sister friends, my sister circle. It's women like myself that have supported me the most in all aspects of my life, whether it's my personal life, my business life, my social life. It's always women that I'm able to really fall back onto. And all you have to do is pick up your phone. You have a sister waiting at the end of the phone to give you a word of advice, a word of encouragement, and just to encourage you to move on and go get those goals. My advice for young women as we celebrate International Women's Day is make sure that you have your self-confidence intact. Do not allow anybody to railroad you into doing something you don't want to do. Keep your eyes focused on your goal. Know exactly what it is that you've set out for yourself to do and to achieve, because life is for living and for the living. Happy International Women's Day. Take care.
Okay, thank you so much, Her Royal Highness Princess Meridian. And she is one of our project partners with the GPS project. This time we want to introduce one of our participants, which is Miss Asia Roll, who hails from one of our senior high schools here in the country, which is C.R. Walker. And one of the things that we had to do with this program is our participants had to write poetry as a means of expression. And so Mr. Mtima Solwazi from Trinidad, the project lead, this is what his Oral Roots Tradition Foundation is all about. It's about using the spoken word. And so she's going to speak one of those poems right now before we go into our second video. And so now I'm going to turn it over to Miss Asia.
Good morning, everyone. Like Ms. Bowe said, my name is Asia Roll and I attend C.R. Walker. Today, I would like to take you all on a journey, that journey being my I Am poem. I am timid and full of uncertainty. I wonder how knowing and loving yourself feels. I hear a strong, confident voice whispering within me, waiting to break free. I see the possibility of what I could be. I want to be her, the woman awakening within me. I am timid and full of uncertainty. I pretend I am a queen of royal prestige. I feel my heart race, blood rush, face flush as she slowly becomes me. I touch my mirror, finally accepting the reflection I see. I worry it will only last like the flame of a small candle when it is windy. I cry out at night sometimes, wishing to be someone I am not, pained by the thought that I am not enough. I am blooming and deciphering what it means to be me. I understand now that I am the voice whispering within me, and my queenship is not pretend. I say that I choose to love myself and free the side of me that I have withheld, the side that I am ashamed of, that I have dumbed down for people that could not comprehend the depth that I possess in the shallow world. I dream that I can be an aspiration for young women like me. I try to live in peace with myself and the world around me. I hope that anyone else struggling with being bound by the chains of society, insecurity, self-hatred, whatever it may be, breaks free. I am hopeful and becoming the woman that was always within me.
Thank you so very much, Asia. And so now we're going to go to our second video, and we're going to have the lineup on the second video at this time.
Hi there. My name is Rita Nana Amabuating. I am a mental health worker. I am a daughter, a wife, a mother, a sister, a social justice and equity advocate, a friend, a Christian, and I am a woman. I believe that women should be represented in all aspects of society because women are intelligent and great leaders who have helped society and held it together with their ingenuity, wisdom, strength, creativity, and so much more. And society is better because of it. Some of the challenges I faced as a woman. Well, I faced many, like that a woman shouldn't lead or cannot lead, that only men should lead. Or that because I am a woman, I should be paid less than my male colleagues for the same job that we do. That I should be paid less than those whom I had trained or those that I had seniority over. or that because I'm a brown-skinned woman that I'm not intelligent, or that I'm lazy, and then passed on for employment opportunities. But I'm thankful for all these challenges because they have made me stronger and they have helped me to develop my voice. And because of that, I have co-founded a non-profit organization that seeks to address some social challenges like domestic violence, mental health and mental illness challenges, addictions, poverty, and other social and justice issues. I have also been blessed to receive the advice and support of great women and wise women such as my mother, my aunts, my grandmother, my friends, and great female leaders who have taught me to be strong and to stand for what I believe in. But I have also been blessed to receive the advice and guidance of strong men who have taught me to not settle for mediocrity, but to reach for higher. Like my father, my husband, my friends, and my male mentors. And I am grateful for that. My advice for young girls is that speak up. Don't lose your voice, ever. Use your voice for good. Do not be shy. Do not let anybody tell you to be quiet. If you have something to say, speak it. Say it. And let your voice be heard. God gave it to you, so use it and use it for good. Advocate for yourself and advocate for others. Thank you very much.
Thank you so very much, Rita, who is, as she said, a mental health worker. And as we've been addressing even mental health within this project, one of the things we discussed as well is what women and females go through around the world, particularly when it comes to something that is called FGM, female genital mutilation. And it's one of the harmful cultural practices that we held a workshop on. And so next up, we have one of our participants, Delisha Sweeting, who would have done the workshop that we had in terms of sharing with them about these different ways that women may be harmed around the world. And she's going to share with us what was it that she learned or what was it that stood out the most to her during that workshop. Welcome, Delisha.
Good morning.
Good morning.
So, what I'd like to say is that in our JPS Girls Women Summit, I've learned about harmful cultural practices, and it's sad to say that more than 23 million girls and women are exposed to harmful cultural practices. And with this said, this causes girls and women to have physical, psychological, and even emotional trauma. And with this being said, I would like everybody to encourage speaking up and spreading the word on harmful cultural practices, stating what they are and telling them that it's not normal, and spreading it via social media, TikTok, Instagram, and as well as newspaper articles to let people know that this is not right and it should be stopped.
Thank you so very much, Delisha. And so that comes to the tagline that came from that workshop, that what is harmful is universal. We'll now go up to our next video that is coming in from Trinidad and Tobago.
My name is Elizabeth Gray. I am 31 years old. I currently hold the position of a continuous improvement specialist at ANSA Polymer. Basically, as the name suggests, it's an improvement specialist. So you look for issues, you troubleshoot issues, you come up with keen ways to save money, to restructure the organization, and to make the necessary changes that will benefit the organization, even if it is a cultural change. Women need to be represented in society because I think firstly, we deserve to have equal representation to males. Secondly, we also have a lot to offer in terms of perspective and decision making. And women are also educating themselves to the point that they can make the decisive decisions that men would have done in the past. Well, I've been in the manufacturing sector for approximately 5 years, and it's a male-dominated environment with about 70 to 80% of males holding senior positions. Because I have held many portfolios in senior positions, I've been counteracted by males, and sometimes our decisions as women are seen as lesser. So it was important that we come across strong, we come across confident in our decisions, we do the same level of work to get to the same place that males would have gotten before. Actually, strangely enough, I actually got a lot of support from males in my family who are very vocal about how they feel, males who have held leadership positions and were huge advocates for women being in leadership positions and speaking their truth, not shying away from, taking leadership roles, from saying their part even when it might not be widely accepted by many. I would say always speak your truth. I think that I've coached many females in my short time, and one thing I would tell them is that you have the same intelligence and intellect as a male, and you have ideas far beyond what you think you do, and it's okay to speak your truth even if it is not always accepted and respected.
Thank you so very much, Elizabeth, who talks about speaking your truth. And so, as we are talking about speaking our truth and we're talking about laws that also need to be changed that may be discriminatory, we have Tegan here, who is one of our participants coming in from New Providence Classical School. And one of the discussions we had during our focus group discussion, we're talking about empowering women and girls and viewing laws that need to change within our countries. And Tegan is going to share a little bit on one of those laws that's up for discussion now and share a little bit of her views on that.
Yeah, there are honestly so many things that still need to change in this. There's so much progress we still need to do as society overall. And I mean, I wanted to touch on the discussion still over marital rape and the view that a husband can't rape his wife because it's comes down to the view that some men and a lot of men still feel entitled to women's bodies, and it's in the laws, it's in the view, like, deep within so many societies. And I mean, it contributes to harmful practices like what they discussed with the genital mutilation, and that there's such protectiveness and entitlement around women and girls' bodies that it's really terrible, and it really needs to be addressed.
So what do you think we can do in terms of here in the Bahamas, as we are now discussing this, in terms of as a young person, what do you think we can do to raise the awareness on that?
Honestly, discussions like this help a lot, and we really need to attack it from the source. Look at these laws, reform them. A lot of reformation needs to happen in so many places.
Okay. Thank you so very much, Tegan. And there you have it. Young people are speaking up around the world in terms of the laws that need to be changed. And so this program definitely has been raising the awareness across the board in the things that we need to do to see changes in our country. We're going to go to our next video at this time.
Hi, I'm Neeru Mishra. My childhood was spent in a very liberal family background with best available education, a combination of both traditional family values and modern education system, which gave the optimum mix to evolve into an independent yet rational and realistic individual, which I am today. The structures where women are insubordinate or denied equal participation become more deviant, violent, and may also be ruthless at times. Denial of equal opportunity to women can lead to dangers. Eventually, it becomes malignant and disastrous for the system as a whole. During my long career, I faced the challenge of balancing my family responsibilities with the demands at the office and the perceptions of the male-dominated spaces where the lack of confidence in expected deliverables by women in target-laced positions. Besides, children in the early stages need attention and require greater familial support. Travels in positions with UNDP and Foreign Affairs needed assurance of tranquility and care back home. I was lucky to get the best of the support from my husband, guides, peers, and my children in all my endeavors. However, the time still stands before my eyes when I remember those days. The most important, the faith within, was my great strength. Experience of every failure enriched and made my next step more firm, more determined, and balanced. My sincere advice to the young girls is four-faceted. First, take care of your personal health. That is very important. Health, both physical and emotional. Nature has already provided for a self-healing for every injury, and therefore it takes care of every hurt. But you must be a little extra careful and to be considerate of your own health, of your own self. The fact that the life is the greatest gift you have got, and its worth important only when it is embedded in a sound mind and sound body. And finally, I would suggest that please have faith in nature. It rewards abundantly well to all our efforts. It responds to all our feelings, positive ones positively, negative ones negatively. So remain positive. The future belongs to us. Find that and the violence on yourself as well while we strive to achieve a violence-free year ahead. All the best. Best wishes. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Clarice Ongasiakuta, a senior principal at Senegals High School. Senegals High School is a school with a vision to provide education which can empower girls to live a dignified and prosperous life. And through our vision, we would like to see girls being of substance in the society. We are coming from an African society where a woman's place is already predetermined to be in the kitchen, doing household chores, taking care of babies and men. And so we, the African women, need to fight so hard so that we can get out of this kitchen and sit in the boardrooms like men, making decisions that are important to the society and the country at large. And that is why I'm advocating for representation of women in all cadre of life. Being a principal of a girls' school, particularly in a marginalized area, has not been easy. The journey has been full of challenges, but we thank God that we always turn these challenges into opportunities and use them as stepping stone to our next level. Majority of the parents in this school are pastoralists and farmers. Pastoralists do not value so much educating a girl child. And earlier years, boys could go to school as girls remain at home, awaiting to be married off after initiation ceremony. They could not see the lights of education. And that's why you'll find majority of the parents we have, women are not educated at all. I took up the challenge and approached the elite in the society, the likes of Honorable Sane and members of the Board of Management who could be able to talk to the other parents about gender equality. During meetings, they will stand and inform the parents that the school has a leader and not a woman, and everyone was expected to respect her and accord her the assistance required so that their girls could be educated. And with time, it sank into their mind that this was a woman who was a leader, and this gave me an easy way to continue with my management duties as the principal. I really appreciate for the assistance. I will wish to advise all the girls globally that don't shy off from taking up leadership or any other opportunity that comes your way. You should realize that you really need to work hard so that you can compete on the same ground with men. I know you have the brains, you have the abilities to take up these opportunities when they arise. And so, stand up and do so. Be courageous enough to take up these leadership roles in the society and be able to deliver once you have that opportunity. It is perceived that if you save a girl, you're saving a woman, and so you're saving the entire generation. Through programs like the EmpoWomen, we really appreciate for this program advocating for these young girls and women. We believe these girls will have a better generation to come, and let's all hold hands for a better future.
Hello, my name is Kendra Wallace. I am a police officer. I'm an inspector of police. I have been a police officer for more than 15 years. I am attached to the Criminal Investigation Department, and I am the supervisor for the Family Liaison Section. I assist families victims of crime as it relates to murder, sexual offenses matter, domestic violence matter, as well as assisting families in their social ills throughout society. I have an all-females mentorship program. My organization is called It's All Love Organization. I've had this organization for more than 4 years, and the purpose of this organization is geared towards building the whole fabric of women, not only women but children. Women strike a balance within every organization. Society has changed. The world has changed. There are so many women who hold very prestigious posts throughout the world. You have women who are presidents. You have women who are vice presidents. You have women who are commissioners. You have women who are commanders. You have women who serve in so many capacity in the world. And if the truth be told, these women are capable. If not only these women, but all women are capable of holding such prestigious posts in their various organizations. So women tend to get criticized for trying to be their best. They tend to be bullied, I call it, because in some society, throughout the world, throughout the region, feel us as women supposed to just be a woman, not being able to be who they should be within themselves. I always remember in my organization, I was never criticized, especially for the rank that I hold, but I was always encouraged. Not by all, but just by some. But even when I was discouraged and I feel I didn't have that support as what I wanted it to be or how I wanted it to be, I had a very social support network. And I received that from various women, and not only women, men as well. My support mechanism was so deep that I had a deep pool of person that I could go to for advice, that I could go to for support, and that I can lean on for anything in terms of what I may be going through. I always recall when I was a child, and I always said I wanted to become somebody in life, that I just didn't want to exist in this world, but I want to live. I want to be more than who I am. And I always remember as a 12-year-old girl in my room, I would always write down the vision and write down my dreams and write what I desired to become. And because of that, because of realizing that I desperately wanted to be different, and I knew I was different. And so I set goals out for my life. Goals, achievable goals for my life. And I said I wanted to go to college. I want to be married. I want to have a family. I want to have kids. And all of that I wrote down. And all of that I accomplished it. So if any advice I can give any young girl is that you must know who you are. And that every time you look within the mirror, every time you look at yourself in the mirror, ask yourself, what do you see?
Thank you so very much. That was Inspector Kendra Wallace from the Bahamas. Then we also had Elizabeth Gray from Trinidad and Tobago. We had Clarice Kuta from Kenya. We had Miss Rita, who came in from Ghana. And we had Dr. Niru, who was in from India. And so we want to give a round of applause to all of those women who shared their stories of empowerment and how they had to overcome in order to be here today. And now we have with us another one of our participants. This is Ramona, who is from Akefren International Academy. And Ramona is actually our top participant for the GPS Summit for Team Bahamas. She has been one of those who has participated in all aspects of the program and really went above and beyond in terms of the work and the presentations that she gave. And Ramona is going to share with us her overall perspective of the program that she's been participating in for almost over these 9 months. Ramona, thank you for being here.
Good morning. Thank you so much for inviting me. This is
My pleasure for actually being here. Today not really marks, but emphasizes a very important event, and I feel like it should be brought awareness to. So, International Women's Day. I'm so glad to be here. And so, during the program, I've been able to participate with a lot of different students, members from all over the world, different countries, above borders. So I would say that there was a lot of lessons being taught throughout the program. And so one thing I really would want to take away from that, and also from today's brief discussion, is that my rights are human rights. And so I believe that not just saying that, but actually knowing the divine understanding, the message behind it is very important. And so also that in order to break the boundaries that were fomented by society, we also need to know that and be able to encourage others, educate the world about this undermined issue. And so, for many decades, women and girls have been undermined for just biologically being females in all aspects. So, I feel like programs like the GPS needs to be brought more awareness to, because topics, as we spoke about, gender equality just as a main frame, hasn't been brought enough attention to, especially in today's educational curriculum. So I feel like that's something that we should focus on as a country.
Thank you so very much, Ramona. And before we go to our final video, I want to thank all of you who have been streaming in from around the world. I want to also acknowledge all of those persons who are here in the form of our facilitators, Ms. Annette Humes, Mr. David Williams, Ms. Kenya Higgs Moss. And I also want to thank the American Embassy for allowing us to use the American space where we are streaming live from. And so as this is International Women's Day, March 8th, we're going to close it with a video that is coming in from our participant country, Sri Lanka, and where they actually had the first female prime minister in the world ever. And this went all the way back to 1860. So it tells you that we are definitely more than capable. We are more than equipped in terms of to hold our rank, in terms of society, to lead. One of the things they often say is women are emotional, and God made us that way. But being emotional doesn't mean that we still are not great leaders, that we still cannot be critical thinkers, that we still cannot, protect and defend and all of the things that are necessary when you hold a leadership position. And so we want to thank all of you once again for streaming in live with us. And we're going to go to our final video that is coming in from Sri Lanka as an honorable mention, recognizing the first female prime minister in the world.
Who was the first female prime minister in the world? Margaret Thatcher from Britain may be your answer, but it is someone you may never know or never even imagined. After the assassination of her husband in 1959, she took the helm of her husband's party and won the elections in 1960 to become the first female prime minister in the world. Where is she from? Who is she? She was none other than Madam Sirimavo Bandaranaike from Sri Lanka, Ceylon as it was known then, a tiny country south of India which is known as the Pearl of Indian Ocean. She served 3 terms as Prime Minister from 1960 to 1965, 1970 to 1977 and 1994 to 2000. She paved way for her daughter, Madam Chandrika Bandaranaike Kumaratunga, to become elected as the first female executive president of Sri Lanka, who served 2 terms from 1994 to 2005. Madam Sirimavo Bandaranaike, till date, is known as one of the greatest visionaries that the world has ever had. From a tiny country, from little, she became one of the best known statespeople that the world has ever had.
Thank you so very much, Sri Lanka. And so as we come to a close, there is a quote that I want to say, and I found this one on Google, and it says, "Strong women May we be them, may we know them, and may we raise them. And so with that, we come to bring our program to a close today. We want to officially thank and recognize the oral roots tradition from Trinidad and Tobago and the wonderful technical team that was responsible for putting this together. We want to recognize and thank the U.S. Embassy Port of Spain, and we also want to thank the AEIF Fund, Washington, D.C. So thank you once again, and happy International Women's Day. Welcome to the Women and Girls EmpoWomen Summit virtual experience across borders. This summit is designed to provide empowerment, advocacy, to raise awareness of the plight of women and girls across borders by documenting similarities and differences and promoting gender-based violence prevention and gender equality in governance. This summit will be a regional, pedagogical, experiential knowledge share of IVLP alumni between 3 continents, collectively with Trinidad and Tobago, the Bahamas, Ghana, Kenya, Sri Lanka, and India. There are 3 components to the summit. 1, focus group discussions to be held in August of 2021. 2, a 5-day virtual workshop to be held November 22nd through the 26th of 2021. And 3, a global summit to be held April 4th through the 8th of 2022. We want you to think, share your thoughts, views, experiences, lend your voice as we advocate for equality and equity and navigate towards governance, peace, and security for our women and girls.